It all started 1 year ago. My family and I moved into a modest-sized home in a bigger city that I will not name for privacy reasons. My father recently had gotten a job in the city working for an insurance company, and within that week, my father, mother, sister, and I were swiftly packing and moving to the other side of the country, leaving behind our friends, family, and practically our entire lives behind for a new start. That is how my mother said it, at least. She was never on board with the move either, but being the loyal and supportive wife she was, she took this change off the chin and was on board. At first, this new home stood out to be, well, off. It is an old fixer-upper within the city that was in some desperate need of some updates. However, not being the most well-off, our family agreed to wait and save before doing any kind of renovations to the place we now called home. Opening the door to the home on our first day, my sister immediately rushed in and took the bedroom on the main floor of the house. This left my parents to take the master bedroom upstairs, and well, me. I was given the basement. At that time, I was furious. Looking back now, I should have been thankful. The basement on arrival was unlike the rest of the home. It seemed as if it had just been remodeled. Truthfully, it was immaculate. There was one thing strange about it, though, with that being these strange markings on each wall. At that time, I did not think of anything bad. Maybe just a weird design idea by the previous owner. I could have never known then that these symbols were truthfully my reason for still being alive, unlike my family. It all happened so fast after our first day in that house. It started small and almost unnoticeable at first. Little things like my sister's scrapbooks unexplainably being torn to shreds. My mother's knitting needles being left in places where they could harm someone, or my father's computer falling and smashing to the floor while there was no one even upstairs. Oh, how I wish this would have just stopped there. But things got so much worse. Roughly 6 months after we moved into the home was a day I will never forget and will haunt me for the rest of my life. However long is left of it, at least. My sister had a friend whom she met from school sleepover. They were both so excited. However, that all changed at 1 a.m. Everyone in our house were sound asleep, including me. This is when I was suddenly awoken by a blood-curdling scream. Half curious and half scared, I bolted upstairs in a panic to locate the causes and location of the scream. It was my sister. She was covered in blood, but it was not her own. Her friend was sprawled out on the floor. Well, what was left of her? Most of her upper half was missing, and what was left was contorted in such unnatural positions that I nearly hurled. In an instant, the entire house began to shake furiously. It felt as if the house itself was alive, and it was angry with us. The lights within the house began to dim as a large figure arose from what seemed to be out of thin air. The figure immediately went after my poor sister with a wild swing, beheading my sister with one easy swipe. My parents tried to outrun the thing, but it was pointless. Whatever this thing was set its sight on them and wouldn't stop until it got what it wanted. Their bodies. I ran as quick as I could. I knew with my parents currently being the target with this thing that I would momentarily be safe. By what seemed like pure luck or fate, I decided my place of escape would be my room in the basement. The thing noticed me and tried to pursue me, but as soon as I made my first step onto the basement stairs, the thing stopped quickly in its tracks. The figure made a loud guttural scream that actually made both of my ears start to drip blood. The piercing sound made me feel as if my head was going to explode. The sound grew to the point where I slammed the door shut and threw myself down the steps to try and lessen the head-pounding sound. The thing, it did not follow. It stayed upstairs. For many days, I stayed hidden in my room. Too afraid to leave and not knowing or wanting to see the carnage the thing left my family in upstairs. I can truly only imagine the immense horror I would see if I looked upstairs. That is truly a sight I never wish to have to see. It wasn't until day number 6 that I let my guard down even just a little bit. I realized that this thing was not coming downstairs. If it wanted me, it would have already easily have gotten to me by now. But how? Why? That's when it hit me. The reason this thing would not come downstairs. The markings! Whatever these markings meant, it was enough to keep this thing away from the basement, like some sort of protection or force field against this unholy aura. It has been the only thing keeping me alive for these months on end now. I have managed to stay fed with our basement pantry and water from my personal basement bathroom, but the food is starting to run out. Soon I will have to make my way out of this basement to somehow survive. I don't know if I will, but to be honest, after what I am bound to see upstairs, I do not know if I will even still want to live.